That's Bill Abramson. Say hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Bill has been working for us this summer doing New Bedford Bay Sox. He's our beat man. They're the new team in the New England Collegiate Baseball League that just came to the city of New Bedford, Massachusetts, and that's I'm saying that for the benefit of the viewers and listeners
Peruvians
in Peru and Ghana.
Who are in.
We are huge in Ghana.
The Bay Sox are, I believe, they're a little bit past the halfway of their season. How would you sum things up for them so far, Bill? If you had to say it in a few sentences, how would you describe them?
Well, the team got off to I would say, being kind, a terrible start. They couldn't win at home. They were 3-7 at one point during the season, and they were 0-7 at home. They were doing fine on the road.
Yep.
Now they've hit the halfway point. They're 11-12, and they've come along. They had a 4-game winning streak. They won 6 out of 7, and that put them back close to 500.
Okay.
And it was at that point that they lost their manager, as Corey Conrad left the team.
Yep.
And he was.
When did that happen?
That was a week ago Wednesday. The game, it was on July 1st.
And that was completely unexpected. I mean, I know John and I dealt with him quite a bit before the season started, and we're both kind of impressed by his. He's just a fun guy, real baseball guy.
You got the sense that he understood what the team was going to be about and what this summer was going to be about for them. You know.
And that was one of the things that he did right from the start. He always told me, he said, the way we have to play the game, he said, we have good pitching. We should have pretty good defense. Our batting is going to be – it's going to come along, but it's going to take a while. Right. This is the first time a lot of these guys have used wood bats, and it's completely different.
Yeah.
When you see a ball go rocketing out of Fenway Park, there's a lot more that goes into it than just swinging the bat and hoping the ball hits it in the right place. Hitting that sweet spot on the bat is something that the Bay Sox are finding out very quickly. Aluminum and metal bats hide a multitude of sins. So,
right.
But one of the things that Corey said when he started, he said, we got to get guys on, we got to get them over, we got to get them in. And that was small ball at its very best. And it took a little while for the players to buy into that. But once they did, they started to win.
And, hey, they're up to 3 home runs, I believe, so far out of the halfway point of the season. So they're really is that a common thing throughout the league? I mean, their offensive numbers have not been that great so far, despite their one-loss record.
Yeah, I think they have something. They're hitting in the 210s. I want to say they have quite a few doubles, but 1 triple, 3 home runs in almost 25 games. That's remarkable to think about. I mean, on a field that has a fence. But the opponents have only hit 3 home runs also to this point. So.
I mean, I guess it speaks to not only the wood bat adjustment, but also the strength of their pitching.
Absolutely. Their pitching has carried them so far this year, and with 28 players on the roster, I believe they've gone with 14 position players, 14 pitchers, and they went through a stretch where they were scheduled for 16 games in 16 days. You need all those pitchers.
Right.
But Corey Conrad was using the bullpen just like Terry Francona. I mean, he had a 1-run game where he used 5 pitches.
Yeah.
So everybody got a chance to pitch, and everybody pitched in, and they did a terrific job. This past week, Andrew Triggs came up with a gem. It was a 5-hitter. It wasn't that he threw a no-hitter or anything like that, but he had 14 ground balls out of 21 outs. He had 5 strikeouts, and there were 2 fly balls hit to the outfield, and that was it. No walks, 1 walk, and he just breezed through. Didn't let the other team get on top of it. Now, he comes from USC. So
right.
That's one of the other things.
I'm not familiar with USC. Is that a college?
University of Southern California.
Okay,
yeah,
all right. They have
Division 3, correct?
It's a small school.
Yeah.
It's like UMass Dartmouth.
Yes.
UMD, USC?
Slightly
close,
bigger.
Close.
Okay,
close.
Fair enough. But he was the kid who pitched opening day, correct? And
yes, he was.
And lit up within an inch of his life, as I recall, which was
an ominous start for the team.
It was an odd start.
4 runs
when,
in the first.
He was supposed to be the kind of the anchor, but he has been that since.
He has. He's 3-2. He has pitched very well since then. The guy who I think they expected to be the ace of the staff was Anthony Mayo, and he's from Cranston, Rhode Island. and he's the kid who plays for Coastal Carolina,
Okay.
which is not quite as big as USC, but Coastal Carolina, and he was an All-American this year as a freshman.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that, I keep telling people sometimes they play this game like a bunch of kids. For a lot of these guys, they're 18-year-old kids.
Yeah.
And that's, this isn't the Boston Red Sox. This is, there are quite a few steps on the ladder to go before you even think about getting to that point. But the potential is there. And they've had some excellent starts from guys like Brian Stroud.
Mm-hmm.
And Mayo got hurt. He hurt an ankle, so he only pitched one game and then was out for about 3 weeks. Then he came back, and he's got .64 earned run average. So he's been
Stroud.
He's been very good.
Mayo?
Now, that's Mayo. Stroud is
Where's Stroud from?
Stroud. I can get that. Western Michigan, and the other starter that they have was Billy Morrison. He's also from Western Michigan.
Yep.
As it turned out here, Stroud has been kind of like, of those two, the number one pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
But back at college this year, Billy Morrison was the number one starter, and Stroud was right after him. So the thing that is one of the players brought up when we were discussing Corey's situation when he had left the team, the players are very confident, and they feel that they're going to win a lot of games. And the reason that they are, when you look at the roster and you look around the league, you got kids from Franklin Pierce, which is a Division II school in New Hampshire. You got some UMass kids. You got some Southern New Hampshire kids. We had the kid from UMass Dartmouth. When you look at the Bay Sox roster, it's filled with guys from Oklahoma State, Georgia.
Yeah, bigger schools.
Texas Christian, University of Florida.
And those are all they're not only Division I teams, but those are World Series teams and teams that are perennially good. Now the catcher for the Bay Sox was kind of the guy that they talked about in preseason as being someone they were going to build the team around to a certain extent, and that's Kevin David, who came from Oklahoma State. And I believe he was the only Bay Sox drafted this year, correct?
There was a second player drafted, but he has never shown up here. He was drafted by the Angels, and his name is Walcott.
Okay.
He was drafted by the Angels in the 31st round. He didn't come to New Bedford.
Okay.
It was talk he was coming. He wasn't coming. He's going to sign. He's not going to sign. He goes to the University of Utah.
So what's David's story been so far?
David came in, and he came from Oklahoma State.
Yep.
He was the catcher there until Oklahoma State got eliminated in the NCAAs by Texas.
Yep.
And then David and Dusty Harvard, who's the outfielder, center fielder, they both came from Oklahoma State, came to New Bedford. David started off, he was drafted in the 35th round by the Cubs.
Okay.
And
is that the last round?
No, they went to about
50 rounds.
60,
50 rounds.
50 rounds. It is the most compelling TV you've never watched.
That's a lot of horse flesh right there. That's a lot of humans.
A lot of guys who you won't see in the majors for years down the road.
Or never.
If at all.
Yeah. Most of the high school kids they draft, they're on a 5-year plan before they even expect any of them to get to the majors.
So when David got here, did things change for him after he was drafted? What is
his prognosis was he was going to be watched by the Cubs.
Okay.
They have until I guess it's August 17th to sign him this year, and that'll be after the end of the season. And David started off very well. He was hitting over 300, 325 for most of the first 10 games of the season, the first quarter of the season, and he still bats number 3, but his averages dropped down into the 230s.
Okay.
And a lot of it, he's hit the ball, what seems like he's hitting the ball well, but what these players tell me, a wood bat will show a lot of flaws in your swing.
Sure.
An aluminum bat, you can hit it anywhere, and the ball's going to jump. On a wood bat, if you don't hit it right, you're going to break the bat. And we see 2, 3, 4 bats get broken every game. And you're going to break the bat, or you're going to hit it off the top and it's going to go straight up, or it's going to die. And there are some of these balls, you hear the sound of the bat, and the ball jumps off the bat, and all of a sudden it's 2 hops to second base. It just dies on the way out there.
Just because we're dealing with such a small number of at-bats, even through a full season here, it's one of those cases you really do have to look at the quality of the at-bat, and if there is, solid contact, plate discipline, that kind of thing. I mean, it goes far beyond the numbers, and a lot of the major league teams have grown to understand that. So, I hope he gets a fair shake from the Cubs, who I know.
Are they coming to games? Are we seeing Major League scouts at these Bay Sox games?
the only time we can tell, since it's hard to see everybody when they come in, the only time we really can tell the scouts are there is when you see the radar guns.